This is the Milo Beasley Show. This is the Milo Beasley Show. There's only one thing you need to know. This is the Milo Beasley Show. And now, here's your host, Milo Beasley.
I'm super excited for our guest today. So please help me welcome, with no further ado, you may know her as Marty Maraschino from Grease, Elaine Lefkowitz from Soap, Carol Weston from Empty Nest, and the Golden Girls. Please help me welcome at this time, Dinah Manoff. How are you doing?
Number 309. Yeah. No. What took you so long?
Oh man, I'm gonna blame it on the world ending. Yeah, so I'm super glad to have you on here.
Thanks.
Yeah, so how have you been during this whole shutdown of the world thing? How have you been getting by?
This wacky pandemic?
Yes.
Well, as you can see, you're in my bedroom, which doesn't have anything to do with how I fare through the pandemic. I have been out of my bedroom, but right now I have a house full of friends. So you are in my lair, as we call it. Actually, it was really hard on I have teenage twins who are 19 and worst graduation in history from high school.
Absolutely.
Worst first freshman year of college in history, or worst gap year ever.
Right.
So, but for me and for my husband, we were oh God, we don't have to go anywhere or see anybody. Not so terrible.
I mean, I feel you. I feel you. I get it. Not having to. I mean, obviously, yes, you've left the house, but not having to leave the house, not having to always be on.
Yeah.
It was kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, I live in a beautiful island near Seattle, Washington. So, we have a really lovely community here. There are a lot of mask wearers here, progressive, vaxxed mask wearers. And so, we've had a better time of it than most. And yeah, we've been very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in Seattle a couple of years ago and I absolutely loved it, man. You must it's really beautiful up there. So what made you choose? I mean, I guess, you've done the New York City thing. You've done the LA thing. What made you choose Washington State?
It was just kind of this weird serendipitous confluence of events that led us here to this island where none of us had been, didn't know anybody, felt like we were in the witness protection program up here, and it was time to get out of Dodge. It was time to get out of LA. I could not go on one more audition. I just didn't have it in me. And my husband was in a career change, and we had 3 little boys under the age of 5. And we were like, God, what would happen if we went to a place where, sane, normal people live?
Right.
And so here we are.
It's a great place, right out. I mean, you're not in Seattle, you're right outside. So you get to see, the culture there is phenomenal. Yeah. So it's going to be a great place for them to grow up.
We have a really creative and artistic community, big community of writers here and expats. And so I feel like, I fit in here. Right.
So we're going to go ahead and dive right into a little thing now. Is this project you worked on during the pandemic, or was it something that you had previously started? And that is your new book that's coming out this week.
Yes.
This week.
Yeah, this week. July 20th is the release date. And you can order it. After July 20th, you'll be able to order it on Amazon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And right. So it's the real true Hollywood story of Jackie Gold.
Yes.
So again, was this something that was done during,
Milo,
quiet time?
I'd love to tell you I could just churn out a novel, a 400-page novel in a little pandemic time and a year and a half, but I may have worked on this for a few years before the pandemic. I will say, though, that what I did do is I did a major rewrite with my brilliant editor and publisher, Myra Fiacco, in this last year. So it was a great time to polish because there was nothing else to do to distract me or keep me from working.
Right. So Jackie Gold, the main character, is a Hollywood tabloid debutante.
Ooh, nice. I'm writing that down. Whoa, wait. Hollywood. I'm not kidding. Tabloid debutante. I love that. Okay, go on.
Who she's been in the news, finally gets this dream gig, right? But her background seems a little bit similar to yours growing up in Malibu. So how much of that background did you use in writing this novel?
That's a really good question. So Jackie Gold is a fictional memoir, but it's not my memoir. It is certainly based on some of my experiences. I was never the ginormous star that Jackie Gold is, nor was I ever engaged to People's Sexiest Man Alive. Though I may have dated one or two on the way up. Possible. I'm not telling. But where I do have a lot in common with Jackie is in the childhood portion of the novel. I was raised, and I say that loosely, in Malibu, California. And Malibu, at the time that I write about it in the 60s, was a very unique place. It was not the Malibu you think of today. But I did live in the colony with my mother, who was an actress, and so I really wanted to capture the feeling of those days that I had that were so particular and unique to that time.
That's, I mean, it's what better place to do it than in a novel, and be able to use some of that experience to be able to put forth. So how much of it, so on a scale between 0 and 100, we already know, I guess, some of it is, but how much of the novel is autobiographical?
None of it.
None of it. Okay.
None of it.
Just the growing up experiences. But
none of it. Just the observations, the experiences, the atmosphere, certainly, the reference points, but nobody, I mean, like Jackie's mother's a mess. My mother was an Oscar-winning actress, Lee Grant. I didn't have that mother, but I knew those mothers. And Jackie's father is a big studio mucky muck. My father was a screenwriter who died when I was very young. But I knew those dads. Those were the dads of friends of mine. So I had a lot to draw on. And I know what motivated me to write the novel was the piece about the tabloids. Because when I was a young actress, starlet, whatever you want to call it, when I was working a lot in Hollywood, there wasn't TMZ or the internet or all of this. It was the tabloids, it was the Inquirer, the Star Magazine, Entertainment Tonight. That was it. But they had big power. And if you remember what happened to Princess Diana, because
I remember watching it. I woke up at like 2:00 in the morning randomly, turned on the TV, and that was everywhere.
Right. So, that planted a seed in my mind that many years later came to fruition as, what if that had happened to a Hollywood star? And so that's Jackie's story. She's pursued by the paparazzi. It causes her to jump off a balcony, and she tells her life story in kind of cinematic flashbacks from the coma that she's in the hospital, and it interweaves with the present day story unwinding in the hospital. That said, it's really funny. I know it doesn't sound like it, but it is light, but it's also very, heart-wrenching in a lot of places. Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, I don't know if lucky is the word, but tabloids are under, especially in the 90s, are under fire right now because of the whole Free Britney movement.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that
So
interesting? I saw that documentary.
yeah, and so the tabloids. So I think right now,
About time.
right. So I think right now is going to be a good time for the book to come out. I don't want to say it's good timing because Britney fan, but and everything that's going on with her is really rough right now. But yeah, it seems like those type of website, the websites, the Gawkers, the Perez Hiltons,
Exactly right. Exactly right. There's such sycophantously, I don't even know how to
Right.
put grammar around that word. There's such blood sucking from these people, for their own glorification.
Right.
I mean, they are so terrible, and what they did to her was criminal, and and what they've done to many actors and actresses has been, terrible. I mean, stories of, pictures of, this is something that happens to Jackie in the novel. They bribe one of the nurses who has real integrity. They bribe her to take pictures of Jackie while she's lying in the coma, and they put it on the cover of the magazine. But you've seen that. You saw the pictures of all these, stars, Whitney Houston,
Right.
I mean, it's a horrible invasion.
Right. Now, do you think that there is a chance that Jackie Gold, the novel, ends up being picked up for film rights, and you can grab the second piece of the EGOT?
Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I mean, let's.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Hey, if you win an Oscar for best writer, for best,
From your lips, my dear, from your lips.
right. And then you're halfway done. You have a Tony. Okay. Where does one keep a Tony?
Well, in my case, my husband keeps it in his office because I don't like to display it,
Right.
because it's kind of like, I live, I don't live in Hollywood anymore,
Right.
So he keeps it in his office and he admires it for me.
Well, that's nice. That's nice. Now I want to give a little look of, so when you're looking on Amazon, when you're looking, I think on your website, this is what you will be looking for. You will be looking for the real true Hollywood story of Jackie Gold.
Yes. And I do have a website. It's dinahmanoff.org.
Right. Yeah. So they can go and purchase
through my website, yes, or probably through Amazon by the time we release. Yeah.
Right. So you release it. Yeah. So go dinahmanoff.org. See right down there. Just right there. Pre-order it. If you're watching this on Monday, if you're watching on Tuesday or beyond, go ahead and order it from the site. Order it from Amazon. And I saw that you had a really nice write-up from Christy McNichol, who co-starred with you in Empty Nest. Let's talk a little bit about Empty Nest. I guess you almost have to go back to Soap, which written by Susan Harris. You worked with Richard Mulligan was on Soap.
Same crew. It was the same crew, a little older.
Right. So a
few years later. Yeah.
Right. So how did working on Soap, do you think that led to working on Empty Nest / The Golden Girls later on?
I do think so. I mean, it was wow. I mean, it was even the same casting people's family all those years later who brought me in, and Tony Thomas and Paul Witt produced Soap as well as Empty Nest. and we were a spinoff of the Golden Girls. So, you know, I mean, it was with Thomas Harris at that time, just had a, if I can say, shit ton on television. And so, you know, we were the next in line. You know, we were
Right.
like, it was like this kind of great factory studio thing, because the Golden Girls were in one soundstage, Nurses was in another, that was another Whit Thomas show, Blossom was in another Whit Thomas Harris show. We were on the soundstage. We were all working there. It was very cool. It was a very cool time to be working in television.
Now, in Soap, your character, Elaine Lefkowitz, was in perfect soap opera fashion, killed off. Were you disappointed that you're going to be killed off, or were you like, yes, like soap opera?
I was just surprised I stayed around as long as I did. I was like, oh, see, I mean, I knew it would come eventually. I just couldn't believe they kept me, because, you know, I was such a new actress at the time, and soap was so iconic by the time I came onto it. I could not believe that they hired me for that part. I mean, I was terrified, and I was like, it was like walking into the pages of a fairy tale where, you know, oh my God, you know, there's, you know, Jack and there's Jill, or there's, you know, I mean, it was crazy. And I mean, like meeting Billy Crystal for the first time, and Richard Mulligan and Katherine Hellman. And there I was, like one of them, you know. So the fact that I'd been invited to the party at all was so amazing to me. And I was lucky little actress.
And then, and then Empty Nest came afterwards. And then, so Empty Nest started before your appearance on Golden Girls, correct? I can't remember
I think so, yes. And then they just did a whole bunch of crossover episodes where we would go back and forth.
I thought that was great. Very, yeah, I thought that was great. That's definitely something that they don't do anymore is crossovers.
Oh, well, TV's changed, you know, so much. I mean, listen, we are really in the golden age of television. I mean, I can't believe the quality of the work that I'm watching on TV now. It's so amazing. You know, it's so incredible. But anyway, yeah, crossovers were a big thing then. And the actors loved them because we got paid our full salary for knocking on the door, delivering a cup of sugar, and going back to our own shows.
I actually watched
count me in.
I actually watched your show, your appearances on the Golden Girls last night.
You did? Funny.
My household here loves the Golden Girls. In fact, I just did a Golden Girls episode a couple weeks ago. I had writer Stan Zimmerman, John Schaffner, set director, Richard Tanner, who's an actor, and we talked about Golden Girls and how it's still going strong today. So I want to ask you, why do you think a show like Golden Girls, specifically Golden Girls, still in 2021 is even gaining popularity?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Susan Harris developed great characters. That's the answer. I mean, and then they cast these amazing actresses to fill the roles, but it starts with the characters that she developed, and she developed the kinds of characters that would just live forever. And sometimes that happens, you know. I mean, you were talking about, you know, the movie Grease that I did. I mean, who would have thought that would go on past a year of release?
Right.
But, you know, these characters were so solid, you know, and then you stick John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John in, and, you know, Stockard Channing in, and you just go, you can't turn your eyes away from them. So it's the same thing, you know. It starts with the character. Right.
Now, for when you auditioned for Empty Nest, you obviously, they were very familiar with you. Did you have to audition, or did they seek you out?
Well, no, I auditioned.
You auditioned.
I auditioned hard. I went at that one hard. You know, in those days, and I don't know how it is now because I haven't acted in quite a few years now, but in those days, you went first to the casting person, then to the producers. Then if the producers liked you, you went to the network. And the network auditions were like, that's the one where you sweat bullets, because what they'd have you do is you would sign your 7-year contract before the audition. So you would know before you walked in the room to audition what you would make 7 years later in a year. So there was a lot riding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like they handed you like, a sack full of money and they said, you pass this, you get to have this, And so I auditioned for the network, and it was a tough audition. It was tough. I can't remember who it came down to between me and who, but those were always hard.
Right.
You'd win some, you'd lose some.
Right. And then, so tell me a little bit about the on-screen chemistry between you and Richard, and you and Christy. I mean, having to play, sisters, especially two different, sisters, that's gotta.
Well, I had worked with Christy when she did Family.
Oh, okay.
I came on and played when I think I must have been 17 when I did it. And I think I played like I was 14, something like that. But anyway, I went on and played her school friend in Family. So we had worked together years before, and I beloved her. I beloved her now, I beloved her then. And getting to work with her, we are so different. And our timing is so different, and our chemistry is so different. And I mean, our personal chemistry is so different that I think that really works with us, because we have like this natural friction that we can play with together,
right,
when we get together. But it's not animosity between us ever. It's just like like we're so not like the other.
right.
But we're in touch all the time, and we've seen each other in the last, right before COVID, we saw each other. I love her so much.
Yeah, so it was great. I mean, I love Golden Girls, and then obviously Empty Nest. Richard Mulligan was fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely adored him, especially his characters. Now, as you said, you talked about Grease a little bit. Now, how early into your acting career, because I believe you were one of the only actual teenagers. Everyone else is like 30 or so. You were one of the only teenagers cast. So how early into your career was Grease?
Are you talking about her?
I am. Marty.
Marty Maraschino.
Like the cherry.
Cherry. Grease was my first movie. Again, really lucky. Excuse me. Many auditions, dancing, singing, acting auditions. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
One more drink of water. And I had seen the play on Broadway. I saw Barry Bostwick do it.
Oh,
in New York. And so, yeah, I mean, everybody wanted to audition for this movie. Everybody our age was
right.
up for this. There were a million actors and actresses vying for these parts. And I just got lucky. I originally auditioned for Frenchie, and Joel Thurm, the casting director, brought me back for Marty. And I remember him saying something about the lipstick, that I should wear Fire and Ice lipstick, or I had Fire and Ice lipstick, and he said that was like the key to the character. And it was this very red lipstick that my great aunt, who had died, that I had found in her purse. And it was like this crusty old, but it was called Fire and Ice, and I wore it to the audition. And so I put my whole character into those lips. And I thought, what if this character, was like emulated Marilyn Monroe? I mean, thought she was Marilyn Monroe, and all her actions were Marilyn. And that's what I did in the audition. And, they liked it.
That's great. And, I mean, besides the main characters, a pretty iconic character.
Yeah.
She had a lot of good and appeared in a lot of scenes that like the oh my gosh, like Beauty School Dropout was in that scene as well. So a lot of very fun scenes. Marty was
Yeah.
in.
My favorite scene that we shot, because a lot of the scenes were just like huge cast scenes, with like the school dance and the carnival at the end, and summer nights. I mean, they were big productions.
Right.
But when we did Sandra D in the bedroom, and it was just the Pink Ladies and Olivia, we had so much fun. I mean, Stockard singing that song, we could not stop laughing through that whole scene. And, getting to torture Olivia, like,
Right.
was also like, she was like a kind of a goody two shoes. And we kind of really were bad girls, like in real life. So we had a really good time. And she was such a great sport. She's such an amazing woman.
Absolutely. I've actually seen Olivia Newton-John in concert. So that was a lot of fun. All right. So a thing we're going to do here on the Milo Beasley Show, we're going to do the first of our first little mini games here. It's called the Milo Beasley Show frequently asked questions. Do the same 5 questions I asked to all my guests on the show.
I know I'm going to fail. What?
No, these are all opinion questions.
I don't test well.
All right. Question number 1. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Billy Mummy.
Okay.
Billy Mummy, Lost in Space.
Yeah, I mean that was right away. You still thinking about it to this day.
Mad for him.
Question number 2. What is your guilty pleasure song? So like, what's a song that you absolutely love that maybe not everybody does, but you absolutely love?
Oh man. Come back to that one.
Okay.
I have to
think
about that. I have, I have really good taste in music, so I'm not sure I'll be able to come up with a guilty pleasure. Okay. Well, I listen to a lot of Aerosmith still. Love in an Elevator might be a song that I cleave to, but I think that's like I don't think that's a guilty pleasure. I just think everyone should be listening to Aerosmith when they cook.
That or Steven Tyler should have a cooking show.
Oh my God, if he had a cooking show, I would be watching it.
All right. So we're just going to make things happen. We're going to make sure that Jackie Gold becomes a movie, and we're going to put Steven Tyler on a cooking show. All right. We're just going to put that out into the universe. All right. Question number 3. This one is always an interesting answer. This is if your life depended on it, would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? What do you think you could get out of if you were being attacked?
There's no question here. I mean, first of all, I ride horses. The horses are like my passion. And so fighting 100 tiny horses would be easy for me because, I'd halter them up, I'd herd them down into the arena. And then I'd bring grain and they would all come eat out of my hand.
I like it. Taming the horses.
No, I would tame the horses. I would gentle them, the 100 tiny horses.
I would then seek you out to ask if I can own.
That's a very weird question.
But it gets interesting answers.
There's got to be a better question than a duck or 100 tiny horses. You need to work on that, I think.
All right. So here's a good one. This might be tough, though. Might be tough because I know it's tough for me.
We're getting tougher. The questions are definitely getting harder. Yes.
What is your favorite movie quote?
It's my worst thing. What is my favorite movie quote? Oh, screw you, Milo. This is so unfair. Well, I can give you one of my movie quotes, which was from Ordinary People, when Karen said, "Let's have the best Christmas ever. Let's have the best year ever." Oh, and I'll give you a quote from Empty. I'll tell you my best line I ever said that was in
Right.
Empty Nest. It was, "My greatest fear is that there's no such thing as PMS, and this is who I really am."
That's a really good quote.
I like that one. Yeah.
All
It's
right.
not, it's not Humphrey Bogart, and Lauren
Right.
Bacall, but it's a good quote, and it's all like my brain could manifest right now.
All right. And then our last question
What?
is a fill in the blank. I would have $1 million if I had $1 every time.
I would have $1 million if I had $1 every time I told my kids to clean the cat box and take out the garbage.
You sound like my wife.
$1 million. And fold their laundry and pick up their rooms.
Oh,
Sigh, parenting, sigh.
and then our second of our two little games here.
Oh, no, come on, not another game.
Yes,
God.
is called the Milo Beasley Show Top 5. I'll ask you a random question. Top 5 favorite road trip tunes. So not necessarily like the guilty pleasure.
Oh yeah,
like,
Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, no question. I mean, it's just yeah. And then there's also Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, and Dionne Warwick singing Superwoman. If you haven't heard that, run, turn on your Spotify.
We're gonna do it right after this.
You better.
So what type of, you said that you have a great taste in music. What do you listen? Is it a lot of like that Aerosmith type?
No, I'm back into David Byrne. I've been listening to the soundtrack for American Utopia. Oh,
Okay.
just like amazing. I've been back listening to Nina Simone, Rufus Wainwright. That's kind of what I've been listening to the last few days. So that gives you
I feel it. I feel it.
Eclectic,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So would you, let's say Jackie Gold has made it to a movie. Would you say that would you want a part in working on the film soundtrack?
In choosing her music?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jackie likes Aerosmith. That is in the book.
Yeah, Jackie likes Aerosmith?
Jackie likes Aerosmith.
So, okay, is going back to the new novel is coming out this week. Is Jackie supposed to be a sympathetic character, or is this like just supposed to be a telling of the time that they're, during the 90s?
I don't think Jackie's a sympathetic character. I think Jackie is a very flawed character, but I think the reader will understand why, and will be very satisfied by her journey at the end. I think that she learns a lot of lessons, and I think the reader will be rewarded with that. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, before we wrap up, I have a question, a personal question, because I have a lot of different types of people watching these type shows, and guests on the shows. But you've done stage, television, film. You've directed. Now you're an author. Like, do you have a preferred method of entertainment that you really like to get behind?
The most recent thing I've done here is I have been teaching acting and improv at a women's prison an hour away from here. And it is by far the most enjoyable and rewarding use of my creativity that I have found. I did it for 3 years up until the pandemic when, they kicked all the volunteers out of prison.
Right.
But I go once a week and I work with women in max, medium, and minimum. And we use the medium of improv and theater to laugh and to provoke and to explore. And boy, I got to tell you, that has been my favorite gig that I've had. And that's the truth. That's the truth.
That's amazing. I can tell you I wasn't expecting that answer, and I'm blown away by that answer. So, I mean, I've already the level of respect I had for you was already here. Like, so being able,
I don't say it for that, but I will say that everything I've done, I'm so glad I have this, this trove of experiences and work because I don't feel like I need to accomplish that anymore. There's just other stuff that, is available to me now. So that's pretty cool.
Now, if your kids want to get into the entertainment business, obviously being, a child of, working parents, what kind of support are you going, like, what kind of direction would you give them?
Well, so far that's not indicated.
Okay.
One of my sons is like a Japanophile. He's like an anime nut. He's studying Japanese. He's going to Japan if they let him in the fall to learn the language. And his dream is to voice anime. So if that's what the boy wants to do, I say, if a nice little Jewish boy can find a career voicing anime in Tokyo, I support it with all my heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So before we wrap up, is there anything else you would like to say to our fans watching I don't want to say at home, they could be anywhere now, but to our fans watching on the YouTubes?
Well, I would like to say thank you, Milo, this was a really fun interview. I think your games need a little work. Okay. But it's just my opinion. And if you want to consult on it, I will help you out a bit later.
Absolutely. Expect an email.
Duck can really be worked on. No, I really want to thank you. It was really fun. And,
absolutely.
I like doing this new Zoom, I don't have to, where are you anyway?
I am in Orlando, Florida.
See, I don't have to fly to Orlando. You don't have to come out here.
Right. Yeah. But, you talk about, the difference between the mask wearers and in Seattle. And I'm going to let you know that Orlando's a little bit different.
Yeah, I kind of know that about Orlando.
Yeah, unfortunately. But again, if you're watching this week, please go check out the real, true Hollywood story of Jackie Gold. Pick it up now. By the holidays are 6 months away, but pick it up now.
And it's a great beach read. That's why I wanted it to come out in the summer. It's a really good beach read.
Absolutely. And now that traveling is picking up.
Yeah.
Take it on a plane, take it on a train, take it everywhere. So again, thank you so much for chatting with me today. And thank you to everybody watching at wherever you are. And we will see you next week.